There we go. Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Good morning, everybody. Hi, Shifra. Hi, Miriam. Hi, Rachel. Hello. You all hear me? Good? Sound check's good? Okay, I think we are also live streaming, I believe. Hello, Instagram, in case it actually worked out with the live stream. And hello, LinkedIn, in case it actually worked out with the live stream. That would be really cool. I don't know if it worked out or not, but either way, I'm speaking as if you're there. Okay, so a bunch of us are here. I think maybe we'll wait another minute or two. Meanwhile, I will just fill you all in on my travels and adventures. So as most of you know, we were in Eretz Yisrael for Sukkot, which was huge for us. It was a really exciting thing and not something we've ever done before. And it felt like a massive zchus to be there. We did have trouble getting home, but we're here. I'm here, safe and sound, Baruch Hashem, and grateful to be back. But also, Libi B'Mizrach. My heart is in Yerushalayim, that is for sure. People ask me if it ruined my trip. Totally, totally not. It was such an incredible trip, and it was also actually felt really special to be there during this time of war. And my daughter's in seminary, so I got to be supportive of her there. And I think I would have been much more worried about her had I not been there. So all in all, I'm extremely grateful to have been there. Actually, on one of the days of last week, I don't even remember because they all blurred into one. My son went to go get a bracha from a makubal, and the makubal told him the skies will open up soon. Don't worry about it. But meanwhile, Eretz Yisrael wants you here. And I really took that to heart as like trying to really see being in Eretz Yisrael during that time as a zchus, not like some sort of like punishment or something bad or whatever it is, but just as a zchus that Eretz Yisrael was just not letting us go. Anyway, so after 48 hours of travel, after a week of being on the phone with airlines, and then 48 hours of travel, we got back. What's today? Wednesday, so late Monday night, and we're here. So I'm going to start. We have about 8 of us on live stream. I'm going to get started. I have a lot to share. I'm getting a lot of questions from people just during this challenging time, and I actually feel super grateful to be in a position to be able to offer some words of chizuk, hopefully, for just kind of what to do with ourselves. Like, as a nation, as people, as mothers, and we're in pain and we're trying to sort of get back to normal life. Even getting back to normal life after Yontif is always challenging, but like doing it with our hearts broken, I think is just adding another whole layer. And for a lot of people, that's also translating into food and their eating habits, and a lot of people are eating their emotions. And or just don't feel like it's like important enough to even focus on. They just can't focus on it. Not so much about eating emotions, but just, the same way people can't focus on work and can't focus on anything, so they can't focus on their food. So I'm here to help. I hope that I'm going to be able to be helpful. But even just knowing that there's a bunch of you on this call and a whole bunch more people live streaming, you're not alone. So I think that's the first thing to know. Okay. And by the way, if I'm going to leave time for questions towards the end, and I really just want to pace myself because I have until about 11:40. Okay, so I wanted to share some first an email. Okay, let me just pull it up. I'm going to read it directly to you. Okay, the email. From your perspective, how can I be strong and stay off sugar when feeling so overwhelmed? Knowing that it's not my responsibility to hold up the world. Yes, I can be nice, blank, blank, blank. She's talking about a specific situation that she's affected by that has to do with Eretz Yisrael. I can do my share at work and so on, but how do I handle feeling so overwhelmed? And my response was, okay, as far as regarding being overwhelmed by emotions, that is a big question. I'm just reading directly. I think you answered it already, though. Your intuition is telling you that you can't hold up the world. We are human. Hashem knows that we are. We are taught that there's a kol zman va'es, there's a time and place for everything. What's working for me is to set aside time, maybe half an hour a day to talk to Hashem, feel his pain, feel the suffering of Klal Yisrael, and cry out. And then we do our best to be strong. As falling apart or feeling fear, guilt, shame, or unworthiness is the work of the Yetzer Hara. Hashem sees into our hearts. He knows we are with our brothers in pain. He knows that even as we go about our work, we are not callous or uncaring. We will win. We will win this war by improving ourselves and by continuing to do Hashem's work. And those were the words that I felt were what she needed to hear. I think I also needed to tell it to myself, which is, there's different emotions. There's heavy emotions. Pain. The pain is the primary emotion, and if we're feeling fear, we can let it go. If we're feeling anger at Hashem, we can let it go. If we're feeling, anything that we're feeling, we're letting go. The pain for our brothers and sisters, we're supposed to be feeling with them, but at the same time, getting consumed by it is not helping them, right? Drowning in our food, or just not getting things done, right? Or just sort of drowning, letting the day drown us because we're so distraught, is not bringing our soldiers back. It's not, and I know we know this, but we have to tell ourselves this. It's not going to bring the soldiers back. It's not going to bring the captives back, right? And so we have to check ourselves and say, what is this emotion? Is it pain? Hold it, right? Is it questions about God? Hold it. They're valid. Because we don't see everything. And so we have good questions. They are good questions. We should be asking these questions, right? We should be saying, what is this? But the question we should be saying is, I don't understand. And the way we should be answering it is, I can't understand. I can't understand. Y.Y. Jacobson talks about that. He said, respect the question. Respect the questions. We can't understand why little children who are pure have to suffer. But at the same time, we don't have to feel guilt for being alive and well. We don't have to feel guilt for being alive and well. That's the Yetzer Hara. And we don't have to feel fear. That's the Yetzer Hara, right? Pain, yes, we suffer with them, but it's not our job to feel fear. It's not our job to feel guilt, right? But we have to sort of figure out how to contextualize it. So I want to usually this monthly class is a Rosh Chodesh class, but Rosh Chodesh I was in between nowhere and nowhere. I was in Athens, so I was going to skip the class completely, but then I realized I have so much to say, and I keep getting emails and texts and everything. So I'm actually bringing from the Parsha, and I'm sure most of you have seen everything going around about Hamas and Hamas, and it was Hamas, right? Hashem destroyed the world because of Hamas, right? And I thought that was pretty cool and interesting and powerful, but I really want to take some lessons from Noach, right? So Noach was considered an Ish Tzaddik, Tamim Hayab, in his generation, right? And Rashi says that there's different understandings. This could either be said as a shevach for him, like, wow, even with all these cracked out people, he was still a decent person, right? He was still a tzaddik. Or it could be said as a ganai, like a bad thing, right? What's a ganai? Like, yeah, he was a tzaddik because everybody else was worse, right? So he was better than everybody else, so that was worse. So it's right. So he was better than everyone else, so he was considered a tzaddik, right? I take those two and I say good. Either way is fine. Either he was actually a tzaddik, even though he was in a rotten generation, or he was only a tzaddik because he was because of the rotten generation. But regardless, he was saved, right? And to me, this is very comforting, which is that good enough is good enough, right? We don't have to be, right? And it says bid doro so in his generation. What's a generation? 20 years. That's it. And maybe in those days it was more, right? But the wording of Doros, right? When we talk about Doros, we talk about 20, 30 years, the previous generation. You just need to be your generation, right? You don't have to be greater than your grandparents. You don't have to be greater than your great-grandparents. You don't have to be Rebbetzin, Batsheva, whatever, Kanievsky. You need to be in your generation, right? Hashem knows what we deal with in our generation, right? Just like Hashem understood that Noach in his generation was a tzaddik, right? We just need to be all right. We just need to be decent people in our generation. He might not have even been a tzaddik. He was just a decent person in his generation, right? And to me, that was very comforting, which is that our job right now, in order to be saved, is just to be a tzaddik in our generation. Just a little bit. I found that comforting. The other piece that I wanted to take away from Noach was, so after the whole Mabul and everything, his entire world as he knew it was completely obliterated and destroyed, right? Every single person, every neighbor, you got to assume that he spoke to these people, right? You got to assume all his neighbors were dead. You got to assume all his, distant relatives, everyone was dead except his immediate family, right? And even if they were rotten people, this was his whole entire world. Gone, 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 completely gone, which is, I think his world as he knew it was over. And I think we can sort of relate to that to a certain extent, right? And he's saved and he's spared. What does he do? He comes out after the teva, he plants some grapes, and he drinks, and he, and then afterwards, instead of being called Ish Tzaddik, he's downgraded. Now he's called Ish Adama. He's basic. He's tzaddik, and now he's adama. He's an earthy person. He's basic, right? So the question is, what did he do wrong? So simple answer is he drank wine, right? He drank wine. He got drunk. He shouldn't have done that, right? But that's not the answer. In fact, we have multiple sources, and I actually brought sources here, but I'm just going to not pull them up for the sake of time. That wine actually is appropriate. And I'm getting to the food point here very quickly. But wine is actually an appropriate thing to drink. In fact, an Avel is allowed to drink wine even, right? An Avel who has so many halachos and everything like that, they're allowed to drink wine. In fact, that's exactly why wine was created, to appease the soul, right? And so it can't be that he wasn't supposed to drink wine. And in our, nowadays, maybe some of us drink wine, but a lot of us turn to food, but I think it's very similar, right? And the idea is that food also wasn't just created as a functional thing, it was created for pleasure, right? And I think it's okay to take some pleasure from food. And we know that Noach was not held accountable for drinking that wine when his whole entire world was destroyed. What was the problem? If you look at the text, if you look at the wording of the text there, it actually says Hayayim. And the hay, for those of us who went to Beis Yaakov's, the hay is a hay hayadiyah, right? Which means it's talking about a specific, right? It's specific, the wine, right? Which means that, and this is my understanding, I ran it by my husband, who's actually Talmid Chacham, and he told me it's all right. He told me it holds up. I said, perhaps the Genai, perhaps the missed opportunity that Noach is held responsible for is that after he watched the whole world be destroyed and there's a completely new world order, right? And it's pretty jarring. It's pretty shaking up. Like if we think we're shaken up, imagine the entire world being shaken up, right? He went and he drank hayai, the wine, same old, right? Meaning he didn't change. He missed the chance to change. He missed it. It was just the wine, the same wine. He just went back into, right? It's not that he drank. It's okay that he drank. And it's okay if we eat a little bit, right? But what we can't do is we can't allow ourselves to just fall back into our very same old habits, right? And I'm going to talk about this on a practical level. But I just want to share something that is kind of personal, but it was kind of scary. So I was in Israel and I'm sending, on my family WhatsApp chat, I was sending videos and pictures of my family, and we're like thriving and we're having a beautiful time. And my husband and my sons are Kohanim. So we went to Birkas Kohanim and I sent pictures of that. And, I sent out a family chat, and my mother said something like, wow, Basia, you seem like you are like really in your element. And I wrote back some like happy emoji or whatever. And I said, I may just never come back. That was Erev second days. Okay, because it was right after Birkas Kohanim, which was Wednesday, Erev second days. Shabbos comes, we start hearing the sirens. Motzei Shabbos, Sunday night comes, we start hearing the news and everything. My son comes over, my son's on that chat also with his phone. He says, Ma, this held up pretty well, because we realized we're getting stuck there. And I got like this fear. Like, what if I had like a nevuah? Like, what if I'm really never coming back, right? Because this is the Yerushalayim, and there's sirens going off, and we're actually watching the Iron Dome explode the bombs, and right, it was very, very real to me, right? And most of the time I wasn't really afraid, but I read that, and I was like, he was saying it as a joke, Ma, this held up pretty well. Like, look, right? I said, oh my God, what if I'm really never coming back? And that was the only time I felt fear. And I went and I did my Hitbodedut, which I do every day. And I was talking to myself, and I realized something, which was that I don't have to come back, right? When we daven, right? When we daven, what's the point of davening? It's not that we ask and then we get, it's that we ask and we trust. And by trusting, we change the person who we are. We change ourselves and become worthy, right? And so, no, I'm not coming back. I'm going to come back. The Basya of October 12, whatever, 11th, right, is not coming back. She's not coming back. I'm home, Baruch Hashem. I'm sitting here, right? But I'm hoping that I left that version behind, and I, and I did a lot of introspection of I can't come back. I can't come back the same. I have to be changed. I have to daven more, but I have to change on a deep level, right? And I think that, so I was thinking about that, and then I was thinking about this Noach where it said Hayayin, where it was the same old, and he really didn't, he didn't take the lesson that he was supposed to take in from it, and that downgraded him into the Adam, right? And it really just, I felt peaceful after that. I said, I don't have to be afraid that what if I'm not coming back? I'm not coming back, right? I must change. I must change. And I think that that's the message that I want to share, is that we don't have to be afraid, and we're allowed to have questions, and we're allowed to even eat a little bit if we're stressed, right? But let's not do what he did. Let's not do what Noach did. It's not a mistake that this parsha is now. Let's learn from his mistakes. I was listening to something by Rabbi Eitan Feiner, and he was talking about how after the Holocaust, right, and everybody, and right, they mamish rebuilt, right? Torah in America and Torah in Israel and Torah everywhere is a direct result of everybody coming out of the Holocaust and saying, not just going to go back to the way things were. They had their emunah intact and they rebuilt, right? And I think that if we just remind ourselves that we don't have to have a brand new one tefillah changes us. One tefillah changes us, right? We just have to not get stuck in our old habits and our old patterns and our old, right. So something. And there was this amazing thing. I hope everybody signed up for it. It says just one thing, and you sign up and you choose what you want to work on, and you get matched with a soldier. Do that and take it seriously. Become, right, one thing, one tefillah helps. I had an interesting experience. Two things. So there's so much Tehillim to be said, right? We're davening for soldiers, and we're davening for the captured, and we're davening for people to get home safely, and right. And I almost felt like, first of all, there's never going to be enough tefillos. Like I can't, right? There's not enough tears, and there's not enough tefillos, and then so my guilt starts coming up, and my fault, and I start feeling insecure, and I start feeling like I'm falling short, and I'm not doing enough, right, and all that. So anyway, and in the meantime, I'm also focusing on myself because I need to get home, and I'm feeling guilty about that, right? And we were trying to get on a rescue flight out, because finally the US decided that for a small fee, which they won't disclose, or a large fee, which they won't disclose, they'll bring us and dump us in Athens, and we can find our way home, and we have to sign a promissory note and whatever. I said, let's just do it. Let's go to the airport. And then there was a massive line in the airport. And so I started saying, like, guys, I started saying to my family, guys, let's daven that we get on this first flight out, because there was one at 5 a.m. and we left Motzei Shabbos at the airport. There was one at 5 a.m. Sunday morning, and then at 10 and at 12. I said, let's daven, right? And for a minute, I felt like, why am I davening for myself? And like, and all these little tefillos, are they even helping? And and am I crying enough? And right, I was like, I didn't even want to say let's daven, right? But I said, like, okay, that's not the right way to think about it. The right way to think about it is that every single tefillah changes us. So I called my family together, and we said a parak of Tehillim. Nisim v'niflaos. There were 70 people before us on standby for that 5 o'clock flight. We got on. That was story number one. And I was conscious as I was saying the Tehillim that I'm saying this because I stand firm in my belief that every little Tehillim helps, and there's nothing too small to daven for, and it's okay to daven for anything. Couple hours, 28 hours later, when we landed in JFK, so we're 6 people, and we're 12 pieces of luggage, and we've been 6 people and 12 pieces of luggage forever, and it's 11 o'clock at night, and I said, guys, let's gather around. And I was conscious of it again, that maybe this is petty, and right, and maybe my tefillos aren't good enough, and whatever. And I said, I'm just going to daven. I said, guys, gather around. Let's daven that when we call an Uber, we get a good SUV that fits us all, right? We're doing an Uber XL, but Uber XL could be squishy, or it could be a minivan, or it could be, right? 4 minutes later, massive Suburban pulls up, massive, comfortable room for everybody. My husband doesn't even have to sit in the front. The luggage is comfortable in the back, and no packages on people's laps, right? And I was very conscious of you know, I was very tuned into the fact that Hashem was telling me, your tefillos matter. The little ones matter. You can daven for everything. It's enough. It's good 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 enough. I accept it. Right? We don't always daven for something and get what we want, but like we're used to that, right? We daven and right, we're used to that. But in these times, a lot of times we feel like the Tehillim is not enough, or it's feeling short, or I'm not doing it right, or whatever it is. And I got two very, very clear messages that just do it. Do your little bit, just change a little bit. It's good enough. So that was what I really wanted to pass along to everybody. Just because you know, I'm getting a lot of messages about food, messages about feeling overwhelmed, messages about not being able to get back to ourselves, right? And I think that I hope that this, you know, the message of Noach, right, which is it can't be hayam, it can't be exactly the same. We got to change, but at the same time, just admitting some, hold on, we got to change, but at the same time, the change that we do make is enough. Right, I got that message very clearly from those 2 times, the little Tehillim and this and that, right? And I think we just have to keep pushing and keep pushing that one extra pasuk, that one little parak of Tehillim, right? Just make sure that we're just not the same exact people that we were, and then allow yourself, right? And then allow yourself to go about your business, right? With the pain in our hearts, right? It's appropriate. It's appropriate. With the pain in our hearts, but it doesn't mean that we have to drown, and it doesn't mean that we have to stop, and we have to ask ourselves, is this helping, right? Is this helping, right? Because sometimes we feel like it's our responsibility to be miserable, right? Like if we're happy, we're callous and we're leaving them behind. It's not. Our pain is there. It's in our heart. Hashem sees it. He sees right into our hearts, right? But also we have to ask ourselves, what would the soldiers want us to be doing? They want us to be saying words of prayer, but they want us to not be living in fear. They want us to be going about our business, right? If we could help on the front lines, good. If we can't help on the front lines, you're on the front lines. You say your Tehillim and go on, right? So you have to just keep asking yourself, is this serving? Is this serving? Right? Because that way we can sort of let go of the part of us that's saying like it's inappropriate to be happy, or it's inappropriate to do work, or it's inappropriate to get back on track, or it's inappropriate to care about my weight, or it's inappropriate to be petty about, you know, caring how I look and all that stuff, right? That's the Yetzer Hara. That's the Yetzer Hara. And the Yetzer Hara is doing, you know, the Yetzer Hara is in shambles right now, because Klal Yisrael is roaring. Klal Yisrael is roaring. Klal Yisrael is roaring. The amount of schusim, the amount of schusim, the amount of schusim, the amount of schusim. Every single person, any of you on Zoom, you have some sort of access to something, right? You're seeing it constantly. Klal Yisrael is roaring. Hashem should help keep it this way, but I have not seen one word of negativity amongst ourselves. Yeah, Biden's bashing Trump. Good, let them do their thing, right? But I have not seen one word of a yid against another yid. If it is, it's minimal, right? A mother in pain yelling at the government or whatever it is, right? But there's a massive amounts of achdus. The Satan is going nuts, right? And so he's going to try to make us feel guilty. He's going to try to bring us down. He's going to try to make us feel sad. He's going to try to let us let go of our lives. He's going to tell us our Tehillim is not enough. He's going to tell us that our mitzvahs, that our tefillos are not enough. He's going to try to start machlokas. He's going to do whatever he could do. Let's keep roaring. Let's keep roaring. Let's not let up. I read a news report that the reservists have responded at 130%, right? Which means basically, if I need 100,000 soldiers, I'll call 200,000 soldiers so that 100,000 show up. So anyway, 100,000 soldiers called 200 soldiers, 130,000 showed up, right? Meaning they're over capacity based. They're at 130% because the Chayalim are strong and they're fighting. And I really feel that we're reflecting that on the home front. Also, the statuses have not stopped, the initiatives have not stopped. And again, it doesn't have to be massive. If we shine light, right? You go into a pitch black room, right? And you put a tea light. The darkness is gone just from a tea light, right? 100,000 square feet of darkness, and you put in a light bulb on the wall, and the darkness is gone. The darkness cannot stand up to light, and it's not. We're seeing Gaza hit their own right? Gaza hit their own hospital. Boom, 500 of them down. We didn't have to do anything, right? An earthquake, 2,000 Afghanistan's down. We didn't have to do a thing, right? We just got to keep doing what we're doing. I'm telling you that we're making these earthquakes. I really believe that. We're making these earthquakes just with our little prakim of Tehillim, right? So the message is, get back on track, plan your day, live your life, drink a little wine, take a little treat, and then just keep saying your Tehillim and keep shedding your lights. And whatever, if you don't remember how to sort of do this, go back to, I don't know, 2 weeks before Sukkot when you were it's been a long time since normal. That's the truth, because there's the summer and then there's the Yom Tov season and all of that. But try to just remember what a normal weekday looks like. Plan your day in advance. When you plan your day in advance, do it with Rahmanas, especially if you're sort of easing off of Yom Tov appetite, especially if you're feeling overwhelmed with emotion. That little extra treat or something might make it, a little bit easier to transition, right? But the idea is live your life, but not as the same person that you were before last Shabbos, right? Live your life as a new person, just even a tiny, tiny little bit better, shining a tiny bit more light. And I think I believe that that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from us right now. I am going to, perfect. Okay. So I want to take time for questions. They don't have to be practical questions. They could be any sort of questions, and there's no questions that are too small or too dumb. I spoke what was on my mind, and I think it probably resonated, I hope. And so you can assume that if something's on your mind, it will probably resonate too. So if you have anything on your mind, please feel free to ask. Someone here won't be shy. And it could be about food, and it could be about emotional, and it could be about, spiritual, and it could just be practical, whatever it is. Everyone's good? We're all good?
Hi, it's Amy. Hi, Basia. Thank you.
I see one person's talking, but she's muted.
Hold on.
So if you want to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? It says I'm unmuted on my end.
You're not muted. My volume's off.
I just wanted to say thank you for all your support.
You're so welcome.
I found myself really stuffing my face, like you say. And
you're not alone.
I just wanted to put it out there, and there's a lot of feelings that are going on. Yeah. And it kind of made me realize that I just have to answer my front door. It kind of made me realize getting lost, what the loss is, that I feel so much loss and afraid of loss. And I believe that was an issue for me growing up. And so I think the awareness of it is really important, so that I can
one of my clients put it so well, and I don't know if this resonates with you, but tell me what you think of this. She said that sometimes when she eats out of control, it helps validate how out of control things feel, right? Meaning, like, she almost needs like a physical manifestation, like she needs to feel crazy with her eating to sort of validate how crazy this whole experience is.
It sounds reasonable. Probably talks to her. I think
to me that made sense. So I just want to put that out there. But yeah, I'm saying the loss. I don't want to get too personal into it right now. We can address it.
I'm just putting that out there. That's what I can.
Yeah, but I think that what you're saying is, for a lot of people, there's fear, and it might not be fear on a day-to-day level, but it's past trauma. It's triggering past traumas and past fears. And I think that even just speaking about it, and just being aware that, this situation and this, you know, and the losses that other people are experiencing right now and that we're experiencing right now on a, you know, maybe slightly more distant level, but people on a more practical level is really bringing up, you know, old fears and old stuff. And in a way you can embrace it, you know, in a way you can embrace it by, you know, by welcoming it, because it's, you know, it's teaching you something pretty precious, right? And it's teaching, it's, you know, this fear of loss, right? Is bringing up, some, you know, something that someone you were close to or loved, right? And that was lost, right? And I think that just welcoming the sensation and saying, wow, this hurts so much, this, you know, or this is so scary, right? And I think, you know, just welcoming and embracing it, and also being curious about it, right? Meaning, this, what does this tell me about me? It means I feel deeply, right? It means I'm a person who feels deeply. It means I'm a person who connects closely, right? If I'm a person who feels deeply, I'm a person who connects closely, right? Then people who don't have those relationships or those experiences won't feel it necessarily the same way as you. So just be curious about what it means for you, and if it's, you know, and if it's, you know, and you know, and just sort of validating it. I find that when I'm in real pain and I just say, wow, this is so painful, right? And then I'm just grateful that I can feel deep pain, because if I can feel deep pain, I can probably feel, you know, tremendous joy also, right? And if I can feel deep pain, it means that I can feel for my brothers and sisters and I actually care, right? Just saying, wow, this is right. Wow, this is so painful. You know, just saying that alone, instead of sort of trying to numb it, fight it, resist it, just embracing it and loving it. Just, you know, meaning not, oh, I love this, but like showing the feeling love and respect, I think will, you know, will be helpful and will ease it up a little bit. But thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for your response.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it, and everybody should just be well.
Amen. And anyone else want to share? And it does, like you said, it doesn't have to be a question, really. You make a good point. It could also be just to share something.
I had it with Corona also. Like, I figured the world is coming to an end anyways. Might as well eat all the ice cream in all the different flavors and go crazy.
Right. And I think that that's, you know, you're saying it on a conscious level, but I think that might be what's for a lot of people going on a subconscious level. Maybe they're not as tuned into it, but it's like, oh, what the heck, you know?
Right.
Spend all my money, you know, right. But again, just, you know, because you're lucky enough to have that on a conscious level, you can talk to it, right? When it's subconscious, we have to bring it up. So what will you tell that voice when you hear it? What would your
So I think you can say the world is not coming to an end. Hashem is in charge. Keharifying, he can twist, you know, turn everything back to good. And you know.
And then what if the counter response was, what if he doesn't? I'm just playing devil's advocate with you, so we can have it all sorted out in my brain.
That's why I gained so much weight in Corona.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not letting you just stop over there.
Of Haagen-Dazs whiskey inspired ice creams. That's what I was promoting it on my work chats. I was like, hey everybody, you know, you want to feel good.
I would actually welcome that thought, tell it thank you. And then I would actually say, hold that thought for about a week and we'll see. I'll check back with you in a week.
But in the case of Corona, that went on for months and months and months and months. And it, you know,
a week you could say it again. But meaning if because on the off chance, let's say it's 95% end of the world, 5% not, right? And I think we all are believing Yidden who really believe that, you know, it's not the end of the world, but this fear, right? And it's also just partially the Yetzer Hara will give you any excuse to eat. And so this is just another one, you know, like, you know, I'll fix it tomorrow. You know, I'll exercise extra. The world's coming to an end anyway. I'm getting pregnant anyway. I've heard them all, except the world's coming to an end anyway. But like, that's just right up there with things we tell ourselves in order to give ourselves permission to eat, right? Generally, when we have those thoughts, I tend to say, don't argue with them, right? Because the brain of the hungry always wins, right? The brain of the one who wants chocolate, right? It's like a petulant teenager. They'll always have a better argument. And so I would just embrace that thought and say, thank you very much, thank you very much, and check back with you in a week, right?
And then what? Check back what?
Check
What do you
back
mean?
if you want.
Don't eat the chocolate, and we'll see.
Not yet, because you don't have confirmation yet. And in the meantime, you may have to maintain your figure for a little while longer. If that, right, check back with me.
The situation in a week, and then we can see if the world
We'll reassess the situation in a week, and if the world seems to really be coming to an end, then we can readdress it, right? Which, by the way, we all know how this plays out. This plays out with Jews winning, and
right, and we make a holiday.
And we make a holiday, right?
And we eat.
But and possibly even Mashiach coming, right?
Right. And then
but there's pain along the way. I'm not going to deny that there's pain along the way. And we really don't know what Hashem's plan is, except to know that He sees all. I can see the SUV at the corner of the block, and that's about it. He sees from the beginning of time until the end of time, forward, back, front, right, left, back, without time at all, right? We have such limited perspective, and we have to remember that we don't know anything except that Hashem loves us. That's all we know, right? On the off chance that the world's coming to an end and your figure's not going to matter anymore, we can readdress that the way I would handle that thought is get back to me in a week, right? Or if that one doesn't work, another way to address it right now, to address it right now would be, I would challenge you to find benefit in eating, taking good care of yourself and eating well, even if the world was coming to an end, right? So I would say, yeah, ice cream and pleasure and all that, but like maybe, maybe, right? If nothing matters at all, right? Meaning it doesn't even matter to take good care of my body. It doesn't, right? Then we maybe want to find 1 or 2 reasons why, even if the world was coming to an end, I'd still want to have a salad. Energy, feel good, right? Meaning I still, right? Even if I'm alive for 12 more hours, right? Or 2 more days, I still have to get dressed and right. And I still want to, right? Energy, so, energy, how I feel in my body, how I feel physically, right? In my clothes, right? All those things, that I still have to show up until the world, God forbid, and I'm going hypothetical and I'm playing along with it, right? Until the world does come to an end, I still have to put my clothes on, go outside, see people, feel good, and have energy. So, right, there's what to say for that. But again, I don't want to dismiss the drowning yourself in ice cream either. We're allowed, but not drowning ourselves in it. Take something good. The yayin wasn't the problem. It was hayayin, right? You need some ice cream, take some ice cream. And that voice really just wants ice cream. It doesn't really want to bury itself in ice cream. You understand the difference? Just take a little ice cream. That's another way to shut it up. Okay. We're out of time. Hopefully there will be a recording, God willing. I hope so, for those who might want it. And I appreciate you all being on here so much. I hope this was a little bit of chizuk. Go out, always. Shine your light, even if it's just a tea light, shine your light. All right. And don't let me tell you that it's not enough.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Take care.